So Kendrick Lamar is suing. No. So Drake is suing Kendrick Lamar. This is crazy. It just happened like a few hours ago, and I wanted to tell you guys about it. It's very interesting. This is all happening right after Drake just went on stream with XQC yesterday and was talking a lot about the beef with Kendrick. I'll just play a few clips for you guys.
I'm Drake. This is XQC, real streaming legend. Me, I do music, in case you didn't know. I'm here, as you can see, fully intact. Mind, body, and soul, in case you were wondering. Right?
Mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul. You need facts to take me out. Fairy tales won't do it. Cheers to everybody.
Words live by.
Words to live by. Real talk. Cheers to everybody. Love.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird that he went on stream with XQC instead of people like Kai or, you know, people who are more in the loop. I mean, XQC the whole stream kept playing songs from like The Weeknd and other people that Drake does not like, and Drake kept having to tell him to turn songs off. It was pretty funny. On this stream, he also called Steve Lacy a fragile op.
Guy's like a fragile op, but it's a good song though.
It's a fragile op. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
what does that mean, a fragile op? No.
Chat knows what I'm talking about.
It's so awkward, man. This is such an awkward stream. So, and this has nothing to do with the video, but I thought this was really funny, so I wanted to show you guys. Drake picking a fight with Steve Lacy after getting bodied by Kendrick.
Captain, there's a guy we can scare.
I had biscuits and I ate one.
Oh, that's good stuff. But anyways, yeah, people were making fun of Drake for all this. And then literally the day after, it comes out that he's trying to sue Kendrick Lamar. It's not quite a lawsuit, and it's not quite against Kendrick. So I may have clickbaited you, but everyone else is clickbaiting you too. But yeah, let me explain. So basically, there's this big document. It's called an order pursuant to Section 3102C of the Civil Practice Law and rules to compel pre-action disclosure from UMG Recordings and Spotify. Basically, Drake, who is the owner of this LLC right here, Frozen Moments, is asking UMG and Spotify to provide information and get their ducks in a row for a lawsuit, a civil RICO lawsuit. So basically, he's claiming that they are a criminal enterprise, right? Or they're an enterprise that has engaged in criminal activity. So let me explain. If you're wondering why Drake is targeting UMG and Spotify, even though Kendrick is independent with PG Lang, that's because Kendrick is distributed, like his music is put out into the world by Interscope, which is a subsidiary of Universal Music Group. So the whole beginning of this this order right here is just saying that UMG and Spotify, kind of like this big symbiotic thing, like the three major labels, Warner, Sony, and UMG, all own share in Spotify. They all make their money from Spotify, and they work very close together. Spotify is extremely important. Streaming is where most people make all their money. And throughout this whole thing, he's saying UMG really relies on streaming. It's very important. So then it says here, in 2024, UMG did not rely on chance or even ordinary business practices to break through the noise on Spotify and likely other music platforms. It instead launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate the streaming services and airwaves with a song, Not Like Us, in order to make that song go viral, including by using bots and pay-to-play agreements. So the whole basis of this lawsuit is Drake and his team, his legal team, saying, UMG, you guys used illegal practices and dishonest methods to make the song go viral. They also claim that UMG charged Spotify licensing rates 30% lower than its usual licensing rates for Not Like Us, so that Spotify would push this song to users more often than they would for other songs. So what this means is usually Spotify pays a certain amount to like license these songs, right? Because they got to get the song somehow. They gave Spotify a discount as long as Spotify did, you know, what they asked them. This is a little ironic because if we look at this article right here, when Scorpion came out, there was this thing called Drake spam. I talked about this in a video, but it was literally everywhere. It was on, you know, Drake's face in his new album was on every single playlist. It was even on playlists like Ambient Chill, and other playlists that didn't quite make sense, like Fresh Gospel, Wake Up Happy, Morning Commute, Soul Coffee. Just like he was on every playlist, and you know that was kind of biased. No one sued Drake. Regardless, people thought that was funny. But yeah, this is what Drake and his team are claiming. They also said that UMG used bots to inflate Not Like Us, and what's really funny is that they they cited a DJ Academics interview. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, but DJ Academics interviewed an alleged botter who admitted that he was paid. And this has been a whole controversy for a while. People have been saying that Kendrick Lamar botted one of Drake's diss tracks so that it had 1 million dislikes, and it seemed like people hated it more than they did. Or they were saying that Not Like Us, although it was like one of the biggest songs this year, one of the biggest rap songs ever, they're trying to say that, you know, this is fake, it's bots. So this has been a narrative for a minute. That's why Academics interviewed this guy. Really funny. There's a lot of debunking of this going on, and I don't think Academics is the best source. Here's someone on Twitter saying that the whole whistleblower that they referenced in the lawsuit has been debunked, and that Zelle payments can be changed to literally anything. And then here's a meme where he said onlyfans.com Academics. Uncle Sam wants his dollar back, RS. Yeah, so just a bunch of jokes there. But I mean, if they're citing it in their court document, they must be pretty confident in this. And they also said, yeah, we think other people botted this song as well. And I do want to briefly speak on this. In my personal opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if bots were used on this song, but I made a whole video on it. Let me show you guys. This is a good video, by the way, the dark reality behind bots in the music industry. So like I said, I did a whole video on this, but the gist of it, if you don't believe me, is that a lot of labels, probably every label, has used bots at some point. Here, the streaming service Deezer said 7% of streams on their platform are fraudulent. And like this article says, that's just what they can identify. Another company that distributes for streaming services says that they believe 10% of all global streams are fraudulent. So the whole point of this video was for me to say, you know, most of the time the artists don't even want this to happen. It's the labels that actually are doing it. But regardless, it is happening. So that's kind of why it makes sense that Drake, if this is happening, is targeting UMG and not directly Kendrick. Spotify has also had their fair share of controversies involving AI music and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were some evil cahoots here happening. Although, in my opinion, Kendrick had nothing to do with it. And in another video I did very recently, actually, the record label, it's about Atlantic. And Atlantic Records, I had an insider tell me, let me find it for you, or I'll let me explain it for you. I actually got the industry insider scoop on this whole situation. And obviously I don't want to expose who I got this info from, because that would be pretty bad, so I'm going to be very vague here. But after making my video on botting in the music industry, someone confirmed to me that Atlantic Records was botting one of their smaller artist music videos without their permission, to which the artist obviously objected, allegedly. So so this is true, by the way. I don't want to expose who this was or say anything else, but I can promise you guys this is real. This is a good video too, though. You guys should check this out. By the way, this is my second channel, if you guys didn't know. This is my main channel, Matty Balls. But yeah, so it's true that the music industry does this. I can't stress enough how often this happens. It probably has happened to every artist you've listened to, or pretty much every artist signed to a major label. And if you don't believe me, just go ahead and watch those two videos, and I'm sure you'll believe me after that. So regardless, I do think it's very likely that this did actually happen. I just don't think Kendrick had anything to do with it. Like I said in that video, most artists object to it and don't want it happening. Regardless, they also claim that UMG paid or made payments to Apple so that Siri would purposely misdirect users to Not Like Us. Apparently, people even said when they asked Siri to play Certified Lover Boy, it redirected them to Not Like Us, which is really funny. And then they also accused them of Radio Payola, which again, super common. I wouldn't be surprised if this was true. And it is illegal. I think every record label still does it, though. I don't think that's uncommon. I think they just kind of sneak around how they do it. And then one of the funniest parts of this entire thing is when they cited NFR Podcast. Now, if you don't know who NFR Podcast is, let me just show you. This is NFR. I'm sure you guys have seen them before. I don't think they talked about being mentioned. They didn't even mention being cited in a lawsuit. That's really funny. They're saying fight back. That's really funny. But yeah, so NFR Podcast, these two guys right here, these two hip-hop nerds were cited in this podcast, and I'm surprised Kirko wasn't either. But accounts like these basically are just news accounts for rap, and here Drake and his team are accusing them of being paid by UMG to promote the song and the video. And before this, they said payola doesn't have to be radio. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, also said that by paying an influencer to pretend that their endorsement or review is untainted by a financial relationship, this is illegal payola. So I do want to say this again happens all the time. NFR isn't just paid by UMG, they're probably paid by a ton of people. Academics is paid by people. Bobalam is paid by people. Kirko are paid by people. Rap TV, 1 bajillion% is paid ridiculous amounts of money from record labels. So this is happening everywhere. I just think it's really funny they picked out NFR and like put one of their tweets in this document. Also, this tweet was retweeted by Interscope, which kind of shows the connection there. And then, you know, they're talking about how big the song got. Streaming and licensing is a zero-sum game. Every time a song breaks through, it means that another artist does not. UMG's choice to saturate the music market with Not Like Us comes at the expense of other artists like Drake. It's also important to note that Drake is signed to Republic Records. I almost forgot. And they are under UMG as well. So Drake is probably also having label issues. I think I've heard about that online. So he probably wants to get out of that deal. So there's two things that could happen here. Either this lawsuit doesn't have enough. There's three things, actually. The lawsuit doesn't have enough grounds and it goes nowhere. It does have enough grounds and Drake is able to get out of his deal if that's what his goal is. Or three, this would be crazy, if they do get enough proof for all of this stuff happening, it honestly could change the way the music industry operates, because like I said, everything in here happens all the time. Every label does it, every artist probably does it unknowingly. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter much, but if you ever see you know, like let's say when the new Juice WRLD album comes out, you'll probably see NFR Podcast, Rap TV, Kirko, and all these accounts at the exact same time posting that the album's out, doing promo for the album, and they're all being paid. So all of these issues that Drake and his team have come up with, Drake's doing the same thing, other companies are doing the same thing, and I think it's really interesting that this could possibly have effects on the entire music industry. But what's super interesting is UMG actually responded very quickly, and they said the suggestion that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue. We employ the highest ethical practices in our marketing and promotional campaigns. No amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in this pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music they want to hear. Before this, in the suit, Drake's team was saying, hey, we tried to talk to UMG about this, but they didn't want to talk about it. And then they say, instead, UMG has pointed the finger at Mr. Duckworth, insisted that Drake should initiate legal action against Mr. Duckworth rather than UMG, and even threatened to bring its own legal claims against Mr. Duckworth if Drake were to pursue claims against UMG. So I do think it's really interesting that Drake, although he isn't attacking Kendrick directly, he is kind of trying to undermine Kendrick's success with this lawsuit. And I think it's even crazier that UMG said, hey, we'll sue Kendrick if you're gonna sue us. We're gonna fucking sue everybody. I just think this whole situation is crazy. And as you'll see, most people on the internet, you know, they're clowning Drake here, you know, the red button thing. I don't know if you guys remember that. Someone said this is Drake's January 6th. Stop the streams. You know, so most people are making fun of Drake. However, the Drake meat riders also got on this whole situation. Los Pollos TV said that Kendrick's album, he reacted to it, and that Kendrick's team manually removed his video because he didn't like the album, because one of the guys on his team is saying it had to have been a manual claim. So yeah, this whole situation is crazy, and I think a lot of people are under the impression that Kendrick is actually getting sued right now. Not the case. Kendrick is not getting sued, at least yet. UMG did threaten to sue him, and if this lawsuit actually happens, if they can actually get more evidence than an academic stream and some other stuff, if it actually happens, that would undermine Kendrick's success, which Drake definitely wouldn't mind doing. But I think the craziest thing about this whole situation is that this could, if it, you know, gets to be a big lawsuit, it could impact the entire music industry. Probably in a good way, I think. I think that would be good if it was more organic and we had less of these rap TV pages shoving things down our throat. Pause. But yeah, thought this was super interesting. Wanted to inform you guys, and yeah, have a good night. Check out my video that's coming out on the main channel tomorrow. Peace.